avoid sun exposure. We also recommend vitamin B and vitamin C, sustained release. And of course, they should try as much as possible to avoid being exposed to the sun. Of course, if you're living here in our continent, this can be quite difficult, especially if you're trying to also live a normal life. But unfortunately, that is the best we can do in this case. The next question was what to use to boost white blood cell count. So white blood cells usually, maybe the count can lower as a result of cancer related. So a lifestyle recommendation will be to eat a healthy, nutrient dense, that is, make sure at every meal, the food that you're eating, and if maybe your appetite is poor and so on, try to make sure everything is highly nutritious. And also, exercise should only be in moderation and prioritize so that you get enough rest and sleep. And the supplements we are going to recommend for boosting white blood cells will be chelated zinc, vitamin B complex, and omega-3 plus. If the person also is maybe living with cancer or has just undergone treatment, we would also recommend that they continue with phytodefense. So chelated zinc, B complex, omega-3 plus, and phytodefense if they are dealing with cancer. Then the question was about LDC. Someone wanted to know if they can spray LDC to kill cockroaches in their house. As you know, our cleaning products are not toxic, which means they are not going to kill the cockroaches, maybe unless you really spray the cockroach. But what they can do is to repel the cockroaches. Unfortunately, if you are living in a very communal place, let us say you are sharing water pipes and drain pipes, if you are sharing drain pipes and you're living in close proximity with other people whose houses are cockroach infested, it becomes very difficult. So you may need to opt to look for a cockroach poison, but what LDC can do is it can repel them from your house, but probably from time to time you'll see them if they are coming from the neighbor's house or something. So then the next question, well, this question came in different forms, and it was about cysts. So polycystic ovarian syndrome is one version. So this is where there's many cysts growing in the ovaries. Also, cysts can appear there is a case of kidney cysts and also bladder cysts. So in the case of cysts, the first thing will be to eliminate sugar and refined carbohydrates, and also to opt for a healthy diet, which will mean that you manage the amount of carbohydrates you take, maybe keep the carbohydrates on the lower side, and opt for healthier fiber-rich carbohydrates, because these conditions tend to be driven by insulin resistance, which is always worsened by a high refined carbohydrate diet. So the supplements we are going to recommend are those which help in balancing the blood sugars as well as combating unwanted growth. So the first is going to be cruciferous plus, and the next is going to be botanical balance. The third is going to be magnesium. In the case of the question which was about PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, we would also include herbal feminine complex. And this is because in PCOS, there is some hormonal imbalance that tends to make the woman produce abnormally high amount of testosterone, which can interfere with fertility and her normal feminine functions. So herbal feminine complex should help in that case to balance out the reproductive hormones of the woman. So otherwise, for the other types of cysts, it will be cruciferous plus, botanical balance, and magnesium complex. Then another question was what to recommend for asthma. So in the case of asthma, we know that there can be allergies involved, which can act as triggers or drivers of asthma and asthmatic attacks. So the first lifestyle recommendation will be to minimize problem foods. These are foods which people tend to react badly to, and if you have got some of these allergic issues, it might be a good idea to minimize or eliminate them. The two most commonly problematic ones will be foods which are wheat-based, so anything made with wheat and wheat flour, and also milk, dairy, especially fresh milk. Some people can be okay with dairy that has been fermented, but this you may need to try to identify and avoid whatever is triggering or worsening the asthmatic attacks. Then the supplements we'll recommend will be herbal respiratory complex if you have it in your region. Here in South Africa, I think we no longer have it. And then, isn't that so? We no longer have herbal respiratory, yeah. I'm not sure whether in the East and West we have herbal respiratory, but if you do, it is a recommendation here for asthma. We also recommend omega-3 plus to help resolve the inflammation in the air passages. We recommend flavonoid complex, and we also recommend vitamin A plus D, which of course, if you are getting plenty of sun exposure, you may not necessarily need to take. But a lot of us these days don't get as much sun as we might as we might need. So you may find it necessary to supplement with vitamin A plus D. Then the next question was, is it a good idea to use supplements before you fall sick? And of course, this is a very good question because we know that prevention is much better than cure, and our supplements are especially useful in targeting those healthy habits that are going to ensure that we get ahead of the problems before they come or before they become severe. So definitely you can take the products before you fall sick. I think this was in relation to the last two sessions we had, which were about insulin resistance. And because you may already have noticed or within your family group that you have some issues to do with blood sugar, like pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes in a family member and so on. So rather than wait until you also are diagnosed with the condition, you can start from time to time using the range of products that we are recommending to help support your metabolism, because a lot of the chronic illnesses that we have today are related to problems to do with our metabolism. So yes, it is all right to use the supplement before you have an illness, because the supplements will fill any dietary gaps there might be. It will also give the body nutrients to keep up with resolving any health issues as they arise, rather than waiting until the system is overwhelmed and now you are actually dealing with an illness. So of course, how much and how often you take will depend very much on your budget. So you can decide to take something like 3NN should be an ongoing one because it helps you to benefit from all your lifestyle habits that you are cultivating. But also with the others, you can see according to your budget. If you're able to buy something like ProVitality, this will give you a broad range of supplements. If you, from time to time, you can add botanical balance just to see that your system is working. And of course, always our supplements are called supplements because they are supposed to supplement our good healthy habits that supports our body in keeping itself healthy. So they supplement your good habits. And so just make sure that you're not relying on the supplements to combat bad habits, because this might not work up well for us. So what we need to do is cultivate those good health habits and also use the supplements to bridge any gaps that there might be. Then the next question was also related to that. Are there any side effects to taking the supplements, and for how long should we use them? So this is a few points I'll make here. First of all is that our supplements are food concentrates. So what the food concentrate will do is to ensure that you are getting nutrient boosts in your supplements that will boost what you are taking in your diet. In addition to that, they are not drugs, which means that we do not worry about side effects in the way that we would worry if we are taking a pharmaceutical drug. What they are is food which is concentrated, and this means that your body will treat it as food. And just as food does not give a side effect, maybe apart from some of the problematic foods we have nowadays that can lead to obesity and things like that, we really do not have to worry about side effects of supplements. The other part of the question is, for how long should we use? Again, just as long as we feel the need for it, and we can do it on and off. If, let us say, it's a matter of tightness in the budget, you can choose something like Tree and N should be ongoing, because, as I say, Tree and N supports you in benefiting from all your good choices that you're making. Then for the others will depend on yourself. You can take some from time to time, or you can choose a selection that suits whatever it is that you're addressing. And this you can take in an ongoing basis, and maybe from, if once in a while you feel like maybe you want to miss a day here, a week there. It is like eating healthy food. How long should we eat healthily for? For all of our life, unless we get tired of being healthy and we want to get sick. So we try to always eat healthy at every meal, every day, every week, every month. Every now and then we fall out and we maybe fall into bad habits that might be damaging to our health. Maybe at that time we may want to use the supplements a bit more. It could be, for example, here in Southern Africa, we normally are very consistent in taking some of the supplements at the beginning of the colder months, like around April, because then the tendency to get viral infections increases, because viruses live better in cold temperatures. So things like the flu virus and so on will tend to be more at large in the cooler months. And so during such periods of the year, you may want to take some of the supplements that help boost your immune system. Maybe if you have been exposed to less than healthy conditions, you may want to do a detox once in a while and so on. So just to say that supplements should be a part of your life, that you adjust according to your needs. Okay, then the next question was, a product safe to use for a chronic kidney disease patient who is already undergoing dialysis. So by the time a person is undergoing dialysis, it means that the kidney is really battling. It is in the illness might have reached stage 3 or even 4. So for that reason, we don't recommend that you give a large number of supplements, because remember, the kidney is now not having it, so is not being so efficient in its functioning. So we recommend the supplements that are crucial, because there is a tendency for a person with chronic kidney disease to be deficient in it. So that will be vitamin B complex, which is to guard against deficiency in the person with the illness. We also recommend Beta Guard, which is a support for the kidney. And we also recommend vitamin A plus D. So that would be the most we'll recommend. And also I would like to mention, before going to the next question, that the greatest reason for chronic kidney disease we have today is diabetes. So if the person is diabetic, then I would recommend that they add botanical balance as well. All right, then the next question was what to recommend for nerve pain. So nerve pain is another one that is linked to diabetes. It is also linked to nerve damage for other reasons. So in the lifestyle part, the best we can do here is to identify and resolve the root cause. If it is diabetes, then of course we need to attend to the diabetes, because remember, if the diabetes is continuing, it's going to continue doing damage. So if that is the case, then botanical balance and Tree and N should be a part of the supplements. If it is a matter of injury, of course, probably the injury has been attended to, and hopefully they are on the road to recovery. So the supplements we recommend here to help with nerve pain will be vitamin B complex, magnesium complex, and either Pro-Vitality or omega-3 plus. And as I've said, if a person has type 2 diabetes, then we'd also want to add botanical balance and TNM to improve the blood sugar situation. Then the next was someone wanted to know what to recommend for a diabetic person who has chronic gastritis, that is inflammation of the stomach. And here in the lifestyle, we are going to recommend, of course, that they follow our recommendations for a diet that supports stable blood sugar. And we also recommend that they don't use over-the-counter pain medication. Some of them can be harmful to the gut lining. Add fermented foods from your culture to the diet. This supports your gut microbiota. Avoid problem items like tobacco and alcohol. They worsen inflammation, which will make the stomach inflammation worse. And also resolve stress, because stress is another one that worsens the inflammation in the stomach. So those are the lifestyle points, and the supplements we recommend will be chelated zinc to help to heal the gut lining. We recommend omega-3 plus to resolve the inflammation, as well as flavonoid complex and aloe vera plus to drink. So you can get aloe vera maybe to drink twice a day with maybe just after meals and so on. It helps to soothe the stomach. So chelated 3 plus, flavonoid complex, and aloe vera plus. And that was for an adult. So another question was for young children who are also having gut issues. And here the lifestyle recommendation will be that we make sure that they get enough of a nutrient-dense diets. They should avoid processed meat. So things like salami and sausage maybe are not a good idea. Just get regular normal meat and cook it. Then also avoid raw vegetables and rather opt for cooked leafy vegetables. So raw vegetable would be like salads and so on, because this might be more difficult for someone who has got gut issues to process. So cook the vegetables, and avocado is a good fruit to add to the diet of these children, as well as also maybe avoid wheat and like they have mentioned. Then for these young children, we recommend Vita Squares, we recommend VitaGuard, and we recommend omega-3 plus, as well as aloe vera plus to drink. I think the question involved 2 children, so they can share the supplements. They usually are quite a good number in the container. And one of the children was said to be also having constipation. So for that one, you might need to add fiber tablets as well as the other one. So the fiber could come from the diet, but for the one who has constipation, maybe initially try fiber tablets. If the constipation does not respond, then you may need to go to half a tablet of stage 6 until they are able to pass stools regularly. And then you can start to face off the stage 6. All right, next was, can an item which is not available be, if some of the items in the list are not available, should one take the ones which are available? So for example, if like in the previous question, I recommend Vita Square, VitaGuard, omega-3 plus minis, and aloe vera plus, and maybe you don't have, let us say the VitaGuard is missing, then you can go on with the other one, and whenever the VitaGuard comes in, you can add it. Because remember, as I said, these are food concentrates, and what you take is going to help you. So it does not mean that they all have to be there and you'd wait. If one is not there, you keep on waiting. Take what is available and add what is not available as it becomes available. I know that sometimes we have back orders that last for a while. Sometimes it is possible for me to recommend an alternative. Not always so, but sometimes that is possible. Also, I know that in some markets, some supplements are not available. In such cases, usually what I will do is to recommend an alternative if you send me a question about it. Okay, next is, and in that question, I would also say try to always take 3NN because that helps with the helps in general. So it is our baseline supplement that will help you to benefit from a cellular health point of view, which means your cells will be able to benefit, especially from what your lifestyle is bringing in. Okay, another question was what to recommend for heavy menstrual flow. Just to be aware, it could be a case of endometriosis. They may need to be checked. In case it is that, endometriosis can be autoimmune, which means if it is endometriosis, we may also need to look at supporting the immune system. But otherwise, we'll recommend multimineral, which is going to help them to replenish their losses through the heavy menstrual flow. We'll also recommend herbal feminine complex, just in case there is an issue to do with hormone balancing. And we also recommend flavonoid complex to help with the recovery of the blood vessels that are getting damaged during the menstrual flow. So multimineral, herbal feminine, and flavonoid complex. Next question was how to lower the libido. So this was in the case of a gentleman that is possibly looking at issues of this type. Just to be aware that libido is often is a normal part of a man's health, a healthy man's life. So we do not have a supplement that is going to lower libido because in fact, if the libido is low, it usually is an indication of a health issue. The thing that I can recommend is on the side of cultivating sexual self-discipline. So identify and avoid triggers, eliminate pornographic material from your things like the screens and so on. Redirect unwanted urges towards more positive channels like exercise and so on. Self-reflection about the purpose and attitude of sex. So these are more to do with one's personal thoughts, and it might not be as easy as just taking a pill or as a supplement that will help, but since we do not have such a supplement, then I think that the best you can do is to cultivate these habits that help you to deal with that issue. Next was which supplements can be recommended for a teenager who is in boarding school and is not doing very well. So here we'll recommend Formula 4 because from around 12, they can move from Vita Squares to Formula 4. And then we can also recommend vitamin C because a lot of boarding school food may not have fruits and vegetables in adequate amounts. So vitamin C supplementation will be useful, as well as omega-3 plus. Most schools don't provide foods that are rich in the omegas. So omega-3 plus would also be there. So Formula 4, vitamin C, and omega-3 plus. The next question was, what are the effects of low blood sugar? This again was related to the insulin resistance sessions we had. So low blood sugar can be the result of incorrect insulin dosing in a person with type 1 diabetes, or it can also be from crash dieting, that is eating very little in order to lose weight. It can be from over-exercising, especially high intensity exercise, but it can also be from other causes, for example, from maybe the pancreas is not working as optimally as it should. So there may be different cases. If it's a case of insulin dosing, then that is best discussed with your doctor to see if there can be adjustments made. The other lifestyle points, you can look and see if there's any reason that could be contributing to the problem. The effects of low blood sugar can be something like shaking and sweating, can also be rapid heartbeat, so your heart racing. It can also be having headaches. Maybe the headache is very bad sometime or always in the background. And it can also show as tiredness or weakness. I'm not always feeling like you would like to just sit down and relax and not having the urge to get up and go do things. So in the lifestyle side with low blood sugar, we recommend a healthy diet with enough fiber-rich carbohydrates. And then also the amount of carbohydrate you have in your diet should depend on the level of activity in your day-to-day life. As I said, if the problem is because one is a type 1 diabetic, then be under medical care and discuss it with your medical practitioner. Opt for regular but moderate exercise because the low blood sugar can result in tiredness. So don't push yourself to too much. Just make it moderate. You can go for a stroll or a walk and something like that. Avoid things like over exercising on the weekend because some people usually they don't do any exercise during the week, and then at the weekend they knock themselves out with too much exercise. This can have some adverse results. Then safeguard rest and sleep to help your system to resolve itself. Then also with the products, we can recommend if the low blood sugar is an ongoing thing, is to use botanical balance, which helps in stabilizing blood sugar, vitamin B complex, which helps as an energy boost, as well as magnesium complex. And if you're on a weight loss plan and that is why you are having low blood sugar, then I would recommend that you add Pro-Vitality for general supplementation. All right, I think we'll have our last question here, which is what to recommend for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This again is from our last sessions about insulin resistance and its effects. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is one of the things that are linked to insulin resistance because that is when the liver cells become insulin resistant and they don't react properly. They don't respond properly to insulin. Then you end up with fat being deposited in the liver tissue. So the lifestyle points will be to eliminate all refined carbohydrates from the diet and also, as well as processed foods that contain additives, because remember the additives have to be detoxed by the liver, and if the liver is already sick, you need to reduce the amount of work the liver has to do, and that would be avoid additives in your food and in any other thing where you may have chemicals that are overworking the liver. Then avoid seed oils, that is factory fats, because they tend to drive inflammation and liver problems as well. It's quite hot here today. And then also safeguard the liver by minimizing the intake of medication, alcohol, and other toxins. Here, just to mention about medicines, of course, we take medicines because we need them. But for some of these conditions, if you are able to resolve them, then you would be able to reduce either the amount of medication that you need to take, or you may stop needing to take the medication altogether. So rather than taking painkillers for a headache, try to get to the bottom of why your head is aching. It could be that what you need to do is sleep and rest more. If you have high blood pressure, maybe look at the supplements that we recommend to resolve high blood pressure and so on. So look at how you can reduce the work that your liver has to do, because the liver is in charge of detoxing everything that comes into our body. And if it is already having a disease such as non-alcoholic liver disease, then try to help it as much as you can. Then the supplements we'll recommend will be Botanical Balance, Treanen, fiber tablets, and omega-3 plus. All right, so those should be able to help, but remember, do support your liver. We have a standalone topic that we normally have about liver support. But support your liver by your lifestyle as well. Do not put in a lot of things that can overwork the liver, because too many chemicals are in our environment, too many chemicals in our foods, and so on. So wherever you can, eliminate them. Of course, if you are a user of alcohol, this is only going to worsen the situation. So avoid those problematic things like tobacco and alcohol and so on. So I think that we shall stop there for today. Let me thank you very much for having joined us, for having spent your time and your data. And of course, we are not done because Pascal is standing by to take you through the next session. But for myself, let me wish you a very good evening and a good week. And I look forward to seeing you next week. We may do a Q&A again next week. Thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you very much, Betty.